brought to you by themobilefarmer.com.
We're here for another edition of Agnerds. Today we're joined once again by Peter Gredig. Pete, how are you doing today?
Hey, good, Sean. How are you doing?
Doing really good. Say, Pete, today we're going to talk about, I guess, a strange little tool that we use in a lot of companies and organizations and farm groups are using in mobile. They are called QR codes.
Right on. Now, you're a nerd, so you know all about them, but I think you found the other day you were talking to some people, and they didn't know what they were, so it's probably a good idea to just start right at the beginning and sort of explain what they are. How would you describe them?
Well, I kind of describe them as the black and white box that you see embedded in a lot of magazine, newspaper, even on some web ads. And I think for a lot of people, they look at them and they're like, it'll say like for more information. They'll have this little black box, and it's sort of like, now what do I do with it? And essentially, what it is, it's as we talked off air, it's like a barcode in the grocery store, right? That you scan to get that provides some sort of information. What a QR code is, the way I understand it, is basically like a sheet of paper that they take and they sort of bunch it all up. And if you uncoded that box, you could actually, it comes up into the link that you're going to. So it's actually really, you're starting to see them more and more, but from what I've been told, they've been around for a long time.
Right, it's not really new technology. I guess the cool thing about them is, and I guess when I think of what they look like, they're sort of that, it's like a checker box or a checkerboard look, right? And they have black and white boxes and different sort of pixelated arrangement. But the cool thing about them is, let's say you have a sign or an ad and you have a lot that you want to say. The opportunity now is you use your smartphone, like your BlackBerry or your iPhone. You scan that QR code and it takes you to a sort of a wealth of information. It can be video online, it can be an audio cast, it can be text, it can be just to the website that represents the product or organization. So it's sort of a really efficient way to gateway the user to much more comprehensive information, right?
Like a lot of times you'll see it in an ad, and it'll, for a crop protection company, and you can basically scan that QR code and it goes to their website for more product information. What would you say is the coolest use of a QR code that you've seen?
I guess outside of agriculture, it's sort of like I've seen them in car magazines or even in like golf magazines. Let's say there's a hot new driver from Nike or whatever. There's the ad, there's the picture of the thing, and there's a QR code, and you scan that, and it takes you right to a video of a golfer, let's say, being fitted to the driver, and his reaction to using this new driver or whatever. So it's a lot more powerful than just the image in the magazine. You actually get to see the product in use and a testimonial. So it's pretty powerful. But I think in agriculture, has huge applications, and we can talk about some of the early adopters, but I think about a field sign for a corn hybrid in a test plot. Sure, it has the number on it for the variety, but QR code, you scan it and you'll know the heat units, flowering date, is it a flex or non-flex, like all that information you can access on a sign that's basically a foot by a foot, and it'll have all the information behind those genetics. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is that you can even make your own QR code. So there's lots of sites out there where you can type in a URL and it basically makes that URL into a QR code. You see a lot of times with people's Facebook profiles, their Twitter avatars, you'll see a QR code now. I've done that myself, and it's so simple and it's so cool. So even as if there was for your own farm, for your farm website, if you wanted to embed a QR code, it actually is quite easy.
Right, and I mean there's other opportunities too. Like let's say you had a fungicide or a new chemical product, you haven't used it before. We all fumble through those tiny little booklets, tiny text on how to use it, application rate, volume, nozzle, everything like that. I think we're going to see more QR codes as product support. Sort of, if you haven't used it before, you want a refresher, click on that QR code, takes you to a site. Maybe it's a short video. A lot easier maybe than reading the fine print and those little booklets that come with the jug.
Yeah. So one thing that I've heard from a lot of people is they've been disappointed at the information on the other end. So
Right.
I think a lot of companies are still trying to figure out, okay, so you see an ad, you scan the QR code, you're trying to figure out, where does it go, and you're disappointed because it just goes basically to the main website.
Right.
That seems kind of lame.
Yeah, I've got to admit that one of the worst things you can do is build a QR code. You're anticipating people using their smartphone or mobile device to access the QR code, and then you end up at a site that is not mobile friendly, right? That's death.
Fail.
Fail. Epic fail.
That's an epic
So I think
fail.
we're all going to get better at that. But, you and I have access to some programmers, and we talk to them from time to time. I think this is sort of a gateway to technology that'll go way beyond a QR code, in that you'll be able to even take a picture of a car or a tractor or even a person. There'll be face recognition, crop recognition, product recognition, and it'll automatically link you to information that relates to those, whatever you scan or take a picture of. So
Yeah,
I think we're going to
Fast Company magazine just had a thing. It was a couple of issues ago where they had the best is like fancy, crazy, really cool sort of QR codes where there was a QR code, but they had built things around it so it looked really pretty, and they had some design awards, and there were some really cool ones. So it's expanding outside of the traditional ugly black and white little box.
Right. I think the biggest stumbling block for the technology right now is a lot of people don't know how to scan a QR code with their device.
That's right. So how do you scan it?
Well, this is kind of interesting because the way I've been doing it in the past is, I go to App World with my BlackBerry and I try different apps. There's one, I think Code Cruncher is the one that I've been using. And I had a really good tip from a programmer friend of ours, Harry Scanlon. What I didn't realize is if you go to App World with your BlackBerry and then you click on the menu button, there'll be an option that says scan QR code. And it's a generic scanner from BlackBerry, and it works better than any of the apps I've loaded.
Right.
Much simpler.
Yeah, I use my BBM scanner.
Right, BBM also has QR code capability as well.
But for the iPhone and the Droid, they also have, there's a lot of different scanning apps out there. It's basically, I find that it's not hard to find the app or the way to scan. I find that people scan the wrong way.
Right, it is a bit of you have to learn how to do it. I mean, and if you're too close or too far away or you're not patient or whatever, it's a bit hit or miss, right?
I think one of the big mistakes that people make is that they think that they have to have the QR code completely in the whole screen, and they have to be right up against it, taking a picture of the, basically where the QR code you're scanning takes up the whole screen. And that's a real mistake. You really want to have it, I don't know, I'm not technical, but maybe half the screen full of the QR code. You want to be kind of a healthy distance away, not too far away where it's so small, but you want to be a decent distance away so that you can get the scan done.
Right, it takes a bit of practice. I guess, talking to companies that have used QR codes on promotional items or ads, they're a little disappointed in the number of clicks, right? The number of people that actually do it. I think for those that take advantage of it, it's powerful, but I think we're at that point. It goes either one way or the other. Either we'll all be scanning QR codes over the next 12 months and we'll get better at it, or the thing will kind of flame out until the technology gets a little better. But it's powerful. We're just maybe not maximizing it yet. We've got a ways to go.
Well, I think the issue is on what we're QR code, what we're linking to, where the user ends up, is really one of the main challenges. Is that there has to be some sort of connection. Yeah, there has to be some sort of connection between, in the case of advertising, there has to be some sort of connection from the ad to where you're linking to, as opposed to some sort of just okay, now what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, you don't want to go to the lame website. One of the uses that seems to get a lot of discussion is on the consumer end for food, right? So you're at the meat counter or you're at the produce counter, and there's a certain element of the population that wants to know more about how the food is produced. So it's a perfect technology for that. You have the QR code, buy the product at the meat counter or at the produce counter, and scan that QR code as a consumer. basically, if there's the potential to know everything about that product from beginning to end. But again, I guess some of the information that I've looked into says that not as many consumers click on it as you might expect. Very few do. To take that 30 seconds to get the scan, to operate properly, and then to consume the information. Yeah,
Well,
it sounds like it would be a great idea, but it's the uptake is the key.
Turning a 30-minute shopping trip into 5 hours.
Right.
Basically, do I buy that celery? No, download the QR code. Don't like where it came from. Let's try the next one. And there's a level of practicality to it too.
Yeah, I think it has enormous potential to deliver information. It's just as you say, when you click on that scan, is it giving you what you want in a quick and consumable way, and is it giving you something that you want? So that's where we're at. But it's kind of cool, and I guess people will be able to see an example of a QR code on the screen, and maybe take a chance and try and scan one. Because to be honest with you, I hadn't done it, maybe before Christmas of last year, and now since then, it's something you just kind of get in a habit of doing, and it's kind of interesting.
Well, I'm kind of being a tech loser. I'm downloading them all the time because I'm always interested to see where they're going and how people are using them. And in ag, we definitely have a ways to go. But even in the mainstream, I think everyone's just sort of trying to figure out how do we use this old technology that's become new again.
Right. I agree.
Sure. Okay, Pete, until next time, we will talk to you later.
Okay, talk to you, Sean.